Hi, it's Ileana. Today I'm going to be discussing what is shadow work and how do you do shadow work. So if you have negative emotions, if you're feeling low, sad, stuff isn't going your way, there's blockages in life, weaknesses, there's something in the shadow aspect that we might not be working out or dealing with. If we're being judgmental or angry towards other people, say you don't like what your neighbors are doing in their backyard, and you constantly go over and you have heated discussions together, or you're fighting with someone, constantly disagreeing, just stirring up this triggering energy where you are not able to communicate peacefully to reach a resolution. That is part of the shadow self. Sometimes it's part of the ego. It's part of the shadow monad, because there's the self, there's the unconscious self, and there's the public persona in the self. So consciousness and unconsciousness, those are levels of who we are as soul beings. And we usually go in to do the shadow work when we need to work something out, when we need to release negative energy, to free that up. You can do the work with yourself for the shadow stuff. You can write down a list of things that are bothering you, that are not working out, where the energy feels stifled, blocked, there's negativity. You can write out names of people as well who you need to work something out with. And you can go within yourself to do self-dialogue with your inner self about the issues that you're facing, to release those energies that you feel can't be worked out in the physical world. So we need to go into the shadow self, into that spectrum, to analyze what the issue is and find constructive solutions. You're talking to your inner self, your shadow aspect. Why is something not working? Why is it not happening? Why is it not being resolved? You're asking the shadow aspect of yourself, what is happening in that situation, in that energetic field, and how can I resolve this peacefully? How can I work this out? You're having internal dialogue with yourself, with the mirror shadow aspect of you. You're working it out to find balance, grounding, and polarity. Or you could be talking to the higher self or the soul of the person that you're having issues with. You might be contacting somebody else's soul as well to deal with them on a problem, so that when you go back physically to talk with them, you've already done the heavy lifting and worked out the problem on the soul aspect with their higher self or their soul directly, if they give you permission to. It's inner dialogue, it's self-talk, it's inner talk with other people and souls who you're connected to that you might not be able to communicate well physically, but you can communicate on the soul level by saying, I want to connect to the soul aspect of this person. You say their first name, last name, either out loud or psychically, and I want to connect to that person's soul directly or their higher self. And I want to work at this inner soul level to work out our problems together in a peaceful, cohesive way. I want to work this out at the soul level. This is what you would say to connect with them. If you're just talking to yourself, you would say, I am connecting to my shadow self, the aspect of me that is in my deep subconsciousness that wants to find a peaceful resolution to whatever I am having a hard time with, blockages, negativity. You specifically say what the issue is, and you can connect on the subconscious level to your shadow aspect and work this out. And be brutally and honestly truthful with yourself. What is the negativity? What are the emotions? What are the blockages? Just be honest in those emotions when you're working on this, in the shadow aspects. The more clarity you give to working out the issue, the more benefit you get in the balancing out of these energies. And sometimes you might connect to God or Source Creator to work these things out and do the shadow work with God and Source Creator. If you don't feel comfortable connecting to your own shadow self, you can connect to the higher Creator, to the source of everything that is. God, Source Creator. And you ask for help. You ask for it's divine help, asking for it to work this out, to balance the energies, to free you up of the heaviness and negativity. And usually if you're talking to your shadow self, they will respond back with answers and to show you a path how to work things out. If you're having issues with ego in the shadow self, you're not completely killing the ego, because the ego is there as a kind of a warning system to show you what's going on if you're getting off course, if you're getting too far in the negative spectrums or just not in a good place. The ego shows you what there's still to work on. So you can even connect to the ego to lower that frequency, to quiet it down and work out what you need with your ego self, with the egoic monad. So you don't feel like you're getting out of control, like there's chaos, trauma and drama happening in your life. You can work on the ego, you can work on your shadow self, either with your internal self, with the other soul beings that you're connected to that you're having issues with. You can connect to their soul, their higher self, by asking permission to talk to them on the higher dimensional 4D density aspect and 5D. And it really feels like you're actually talking to them, interacting with them on those densities, because you are, to clear up the negative stuff and the heaviness. And once you've completely worked the stuff out, you start to feel lighter, and these issues and problems go away because you've dealt with them internally. And then once you go to speak to somebody who you had these things with externally, it's much easier to talk to them, and it doesn't feel like you have a problem or a situation or an issue anymore, because you've already worked it out internally with yourself, with them, with God, with Source Creator. And it's as easy as asking for help. And some people can be apprehensive about connecting to the shadow self because it can be intense and there might be some fear around it. But it's good for soul healing. It is good on the whole aspect of healing the physicality and healing the soul and the divine self that is you. Because you're balancing things out. You're releasing karma. You're releasing negativity. You're working it out. And it's almost like self-talk or talk therapy. Working out the darkest aspects of ourselves, looking at a deeper aspect of who we are internally by connecting to that shadow self and working that out. It's not a bad thing. The shadow self and the shadow work is not evil. It's actually a positive way of working out negativity and balancing out into the purity of the light spectrum. By working on it and knowing, truly knowing what the issues are, truly connecting to them, talking it out, understanding this stuff, examining it on a deeper level. Go beyond the surface, connect to your subconsciousness, and you'll know what the answers are to your questions by working it out. And set priorities for the shadow work. If you have something that's an emergency that is deeply bothering you, frustrating you, making you angry, making you lash out, then put that on the first order of business to work on it in the shadow self. Just find a quiet place where no one will bother you. Sit down, make your list, think about it. Create sort of an idea who you want to connect to. Your shadow self, your aspect of the self in the subconsciousness. If you're having a problem with somebody else, connecting to their soul or their higher self, directly connecting to the soul or through the higher self of that person, or connecting to God, source, creator. Think about what your approach will be, how you'll come in, feel out the energies when you're there, and pinpoint the most important thing to work on in those energetic frequencies. What's causing the most problem energetically? The blockages, the negativity. Start with that and work your way through the list. And you can do this as many times as you want. Just need to be in a safe, comfortable, quiet place to do this where nobody can hear you or interrupt this work. Because this is done on the energetic fields. This is soul frequency connection. You don't want this to be disrupted when you're doing the shadow work. It is a profound soul connection to yourself and the souls of others who you might be working with to figure things out in God's source. So just make sure you're ready to connect and do the shadow work. If you feel apprehension about doing this, you feel fear, then wait to do it when you're more comfortable, when you've thought about it. Don't jump in with fear and apprehension. Give yourself the time you need to do this when you're ready. But you can think about it. You can create your list of questions, of people's names who you need to resolve things with. This you can plan out even before doing the shadow work. And even list out the problems that you're having with the person or the problems you're having with yourself. Give yourself as much detail here as you can. That will help you to figure it out, what the peaceful solution is, what the balanced solution is to the issues when you're working on the shadow aspects. With yourself, your higher self, with the souls of the other person or their higher self or God, source, creator. Whoever you choose to connect with, just make sure you're comfortable at the time and that you feel safe doing this. Because again, this is for you to really connect with things on a deeper basis, to sort things out and work it out peacefully in a grounded and balanced way so that you feel grounded and balanced when everything is said and done and the work has been completed. And you're feeling lighter, more positive in the lighter spectrum and not the darker aspects of your shadow self. So that is shadow work. It is emotional, it is profound, it is deep. It is your ultimate connection with yourself and the higher aspects of yourself and others who you're doing this work with to help you feel better, to help you heal both physically and on the soul levels, to your highest divine self connection. Thank you so much and namaste.